This meeting is being recorded.
Hello, everybody. I'm going to show you how to make a unit-based initial competency checklist so that we can go from paper to electronic for our unit-based initial competencies. In order to make a checklist, you have to make a course to associate that checklist with. So first thing we're going to do is log in under our organizational level as administrator, and we're going to go to Manage Courses. Then we're going to go to our search bar and type in checklist template. You're going to use that template to create a course. You can copy any unit-based competency course that's been created. Just keep in mind that if you choose to copy a course that has already been published, if you accidentally make any changes to it, it will make it unviewable and you have to go back in and republish it. That's kind of why I recommend using the template at least the first time so that you kind of understand how to do it and not change the original course. So click on that template. And then the next step is going to be at the top right-hand corner. You're going to copy the course. It's going to ask you, are you okay? Are you sure? Push okay. And then you're going to use these prompts to enter your own information. So we're going to change the hospital abbreviation to PAM, which is the example I'm using, the department number to 60010. Keep in mind that all hospitals, EDs have the same cost center. All hospitals, med surges have the same cost center. So it's going to be important in the future to have that hospital abbreviation, in this case, PAM for Piedmont McDuffie, so that you can search for the cost center and the abbreviation of the hospital. And then we're going to change the last prompt. There we go. And then you can erase this. I am going to add something else so that I can search for it and use it. Everyone knows that not to use this. This is example only, but you would not include this last part here. So copy what you got. Keep in mind that you can't right click. You have to do Control C. Otherwise, it will not let you copy and paste. You want to keep the learning objectives because that's the reason for copying the course. These learning objectives will already be there. It will already have checklist in here. If for some reason, we're just going to keep it simple. That checklist should already be there. The customer default certificate should remain. If you change that, you could accidentally do something like give them CEs for finishing their unit-based checklist. So just leave that in customer default. And you want to keep the in development status. If you leave everything else the same. If you prefer, you can add your name as the author. I don't know if there's an advantage to that, but you can if you want to. Leave everything else the same and press save. Next thing is we need to edit this checklist. So the top one is the course. The bottom one is the checklist. Go and click on the checklist. And it's gonna, because you copied the course, it's gonna auto-populate your instructions. It's gonna auto-populate your evaluator guidelines. We're gonna keep all this the same. Now, this gives you a template to start from. The section is gonna make this so that they can't change it and there aren't any options. It's just gonna show the section of competencies. All checklists have to start with the section. Then you wanna take your first competency. You can actually have your electronic version of your paper competency pulled up. You can copy the first competency and then just paste it, or you can just type it in. Let's say it's going to be insert a PIV. I don't know, I'm just making this up. Second one will be bladder scanner. And let's just do one more. Unit protocol heparin drip. I'm just gonna completely make these up. I'm gonna erase the rest just for the sake of this video. If you need to move them, you can move them with these arrows. If you want to say, you know what, I forgot, want to add one more. No, wait, I don't. You can erase it. If you prefer, you can add another section. So we're going to say this is our PACU competencies. Again, I'm just making this up. PACU protocol for discharge. Please don't use these examples. I'm still making these up. So now we're done. If you want to preview, you can go up to the top and press preview. It's going to open up another box, another window. You can click on the link or you can click start, doesn't matter. And then this is your, you know what? This brings up a good point. In order to see your preview correctly, you have to press save. If you don't, you can do what I just did and you will not see all of your changes. Okay, so now we're going to see our section head competencies with our the 3 that we put there. We're going to see our other, oh, I spelled these wrong. Don't use my examples. Your second section and the one under there. You can also kind of see how it is done in your options here. You can change these. So let's go back, click out of this window. This is a brand new window. And if you want to change these to something else, you can do response options, yes, no, or you can customize them. So you can keep the met, unmet, or you can change it to or just keep that to make it simple. Not applicable to night shift. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe in case you want to have a different option. You can have an NA. So allow NA. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. We're going to save our changes. Go back to preview. So what that does is now because you customized it, there's a weird looking box and it drops down with the customized selections. And then adding that NA where we put yes to NA, it also adds that NA button. So they can say, oh, I'm on night shift, not applicable, or they can just say, you know what, I don't do PACU, it's NA altogether. Sometimes there are some things that you could use the NA for, but overall I do not recommend an NA button because they will just select it. They think it doesn't apply to them and select it when in actuality it does apply to them. So we're going to press save just to make sure we have everything. And now the last thing is we need to publish this course and add evaluators. This is going to be a CEC option only. If this was a UBE, they would then take the name that they just created, copy it, and send it to the CEC and say, hey, this is ready to be published and evaluators added. But for the sake of CECs, I'm going to continue and show you how to publish. Press publish at the top, keep it or change it to approved. Please, please, please uncheck self-enrolled. Otherwise, they're going to see this in the catalog and be able to enroll themselves, and it gets really confusing. And then quick press, quick publish. Don't use advanced publish, only use quick publish. Confirm. And now it is published, and publishing makes it viewable. So you want to add your evaluators now. Even though it's viewable, when the preceptors go in and try to add met, unmet to their orientees competencies, they won't be able to actually see it unless you add them as qualified evaluators. So you want to go to manage evaluator student groups or checklists. And search student groups. For this, you want to, I hope I remember this right, enter checklist. You are only going to use these top 4. These are the only ones that capture all hospitals and all entities, all RNs, all LPNs. If you use anything else, for instance, if you were to use new hire PCT at PAM, it's only going to capture those PCTs at PAM. So the only ones you want to use are the 2024 checklist evaluators, LPN, PCT, and RN. If you have a CEC, a manager, or a UBE, anybody who's not listed as staff LPN, staff PCT, or staff RN, you're going to need to add those names to this individual list. We're going to go over that in a different video. So we had picked RN for our competency, so let's select RN. We also want to check the individual list to capture those managers, UBEs, and CECs. And at the bottom, select. Now you can see that those have been added. If this box isn't selected, they're not going to be able to, it's the same as not even adding them. So you need to make sure those check marks are there. So now all RNs and all of your managers, CECs, UBEs, etc., your individual one-offs will be able to view and sign off on those. So we'll push save. Let's say this was a PCT group. You would also need to add your LPNs and your other PCTs. Just kidding, I need to push select instead. You'll need, because PCTs can sign off on other PCTs, LPNs can sign off on PCTs, and RNs can sign off on PCTs. So if this were a PCT group, you would need to have all 4 of those selected. If it was an LPN, you would need to have RN, individual, and LPN. Because other LPNs can check off on LPNs and RNs can check off on LPNs. But it's an RN competency for the example, so we'll just leave it as this. Other things to consider, this is now published and viewable. So make sure that if you make any changes to the course, any changes to the checklist, you will have to go back and publish it. Making any changes whatsoever will pull it out of a viewable status, and then you'll have to republish it. There is an option that says republish and advance publish. If you were to make any changes, don't pick republish and don't pick advance publish. Every time you're only going to click quick publish. Now, if you want to see the checklist, you will have to go to your student profile, assign it to your new employee. Hopefully you know how to assign something to people, and then evaluate checklist, type in the student's name, and there is your new unit-based competency.